The Timeline is a Blue Wire podcast. Welcome to the Timeline of Phoenix Suns podcast. My name is Mike, back with Sam. Summer League is over. How are you doing, Sam?
LeBron James will be our guest today. He will be deciding his official destination in the next 60 minutes. No, I'm good.
It'll be like when he was in front of all those kids from Ohio and said he was going to Miami. He's just going to come on here and announce the Philadelphia 76ers or something other than the Suns. Yeah, that would work.
Adam Silver is fuming that he can't release the or even make the NBA national TV schedule yet, and he's not the only one. I'm fuming as well. We need the off-season content.
That's right.
In order to, we usually have at least one episode during this part of the summer where we talk about the schedule release.
That's true.
Don't know how many national TV games the Suns are going to get this year, though. It's probably going to be like 6.
Yeah, they get the honest. No, I bet it'll be more than that because they get their regular 5 or 6 that they're going to get when they're like mediocre, but then they also get the bump of like being the team that's willing to play late night games, and so they'll get like an extra bump of like 4 Peacock games on top of that. I'm guessing 11. Are we going to put in? I'm putting an official guess in. We're guessing
11. Okay,
we're getting 11. I'm going to write it down. Do you have a guess?
No.
Right.
I don't know if I want to go
putting myself out there and
I'm sorry. I don't know if I want to go over or under that. I'll go with
you can choose just over and under. That's a good idea.
I'll go under 11. I'll go under 11. But you might be right. And all of those games are probably going to be 11 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah, exactly.
Too, just to torture me.
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly going to happen. None of them will be early games. I'll tell you that much. If the Suns play, it's going to be on the late game. I mentioned it. There's no news, right? We're not missing any Suns news. We don't have anything. Rasheer Fleming is 8 feet tall and 600 pounds now.
Yes.
That's the main news coming out. He's basically a giant from the Odyssey.
Colin Gillespie shot his bow through all of the axe heads, and now he has returned to the island nation of Ithaca to claim his queen. Yes, all of the I haven't seen the Odyssey yet, by the way. I don't know if you have.
I have.
You have? Okay.
Yes.
We'll save that for the Patreon.
Spoiler,
no,
it's good.
There's no there's no like real tangible news for the Suns over the past week. I think we're kind of still just going to be talking about Summer League for a good portion of today's episode now that it's like officially wrapped up. The Suns did not advance to the semifinals, which is okay because obviously only 4 teams do out of 30. Mm-hmm. Or maybe there's fewer than 30 teams that like participate in the Vegas
I think they're all
Summer
there.
League.
They're all there.
All there? Even the ones who do the other stuff? Like
yeah.
Huh, okay.
I think 3 or 4 years ago is when they were trying to make a push to make all teams go, and now all teams are there every year.
Gotcha. Well, the Suns did not make it, but they played a 5th consolation game just like every other team. Koa Pete, Kaman Malawach, and Rasheer Fleming were shut down before that game, so it was just
and
Kobe Brea.
Kobe Brea played, but he was also shut down because he was bad.
Yeah,
they rested his shot.
We've got Summer League stuff. Otherwise, no, I made the LeBron joke, but really, like it's officially the doldrums of the off season / optimism season / whatever you want to call it.
I mean, in NBA news, which we can just touch on briefly, because I do think one of them is kind of interesting. There's Matisse Thybulle today. Not interesting. Going to the Lakers. But the Lou Dort trade, I thought, was kind of interesting. I was saving like the concept of the Suns trying to trade for Lou Dort and just starting Lou Dort and Dillon Brooks next to each other and just being like the biggest like a-holes in the league, just like knocking people over and getting all kinds of texts. And I thought that would be fun. He went to ASU. I think he's good. I think his value in OKC would be different than other places because OKC is just a team full of great players. So playing him in OKC is something that maybe was not necessarily on the menu for them long term, as far as like paying the tax to keep him wasn't worth it for them. So they made like a tax saving trade essentially. Atlanta gave up on Ricochet. The Thunder were not interested, and they essentially gave a couple second round picks in order to get Lou Dort. And I don't know. Would you have wanted to trade for Lou Dort? Like, instead of Miles Bridges,
No.
completely different player, but size-wise, someone who could absolutely play the power forward.
No. I and it's okay if you did, and I'll let you, get on your soapbox afterwards about that.
I don't really
if
have
you want
one. It's just like at this point, it doesn't. I'm not sure how much it matters, but yeah.
If you want to talk about Lou Dort, that is. I'm not really a Lou Dort fan. Don't really see the value.
He's like a top,
from an on-court perspective.
15 defender in the NBA?
I don't know. Is he?
Yes.
Or is he? Or does he?
I think he is.
Is it just like a reputation-based thing that's not going to follow him?
Well,
from
I mean,
market to
that's an
market?
interesting question to ask, but I do think that reputation matters in the NBA, and I think often it does follow. I guess Dillon Brooks. Did Dillon Brooks average more fouls on the Suns than he did in Houston? I don't think so, right?
I'm not sure. I think for Dillon Brooks, it was probably about the same.
Are Houston and Phoenix equal?
Houston,
as far as, you have to go to OKC or the Lakers or something to get that whistle, that special whistle that only players. I mean, OKC, because of their success, I guess. I don't know. I like Lou Dort. I think he would have been fun on the Suns. I think it would have been fun just to have this like insane forward defense potential. Defense at the forward position on the Suns next year, and I think that I could have found my way to like that, even if the offense would just be predicated on whether or not they would be able to make open threes. Dillon Brooks and Lou Dort and Jalen Green, actually, and Devin Booker, all of them, I guess.
It certainly wouldn't have solved the tunnel vision problem that we've talked about with the Suns in their current form. But yeah, look, at the end of the day, we're talking about like his value was second round picks. I do think it's interesting. I saw a tweet, and I don't know who to attribute it to, but every single team is going to enter the NBA next season not in the second apron.
Wow.
Right? It's only first apron teams below.
This is why I think...
At least as of today.
They should just calculate the value of how much NBA players are making as a percentage of the overall cap, because I think a lot of people look at it and they say, well, actually players are making more because there's a salary floor now and you have to get to 90% in order to get to the salary floor on the new CBA. But if you also had, 6-7 teams that were paying way more just to get way above the tax to continue to be good, and that money was going to players too, I don't know. There has to be some different calculation there to know what the future of it is. But the Suns are not. I mean, I'm grateful the Suns are not in it. That's the value. This is CJ McCollum's NBA. You root for your team not to spend too much money now, and that's just a funny thing. And of course, it lined up like right when the Suns got an owner that was willing to spend a lot, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah, that's the tragedy of this decade for Suns fans.
Yeah. Summer League. I have a couple of different ways I want to talk about this team during Summer League. Let's start with a conversation just on what we learned overall for Summer League. Where would you want to start if I just ask you, what have we learned from Summer League? You could even go full NBA, but like Suns first is kind of how.
No, I'll go Suns first. I mean, we've covered, I think, every player at length for those who have listened to our bonus episodes throughout the week, but I don't know if we've really had the opportunity to have this discussion on the main feed. So I think ultimately what we learned is that the Suns have a hell of a lot of depth going into next season. I think the guys who are there to be featured, who are all on guaranteed contracts going into next season for the Suns, I exited Summer League having a lot more faith in all of their ability to play legitimate minutes as soon as next season. We can have the ceiling conversation. We can have like the long-term conversation after that, which is interesting too. But like just in terms of the weapons that Jordan Knott has at his disposal in his second season as a head coach, I think I would think anyone would argue right now that the Suns' relative strength compared to other NBA teams is their depth. I think that's what they have going for them. I don't think they have the top end talent, but if Jordan Knott is able to find the right optimization, the right combination of guys, I think he has a lot of players who can play NBA basketball. And watching Kaman Malawach and Rasheer Fleming and Koa Pete in Summer League reaffirmed all of that for me. I think those guys are ready.
I think ready is the right word that I was kind of thinking about. When I think about what I feel that I've learned from Summer League, the biggest standout of the 4 players that are on the roster that actually played in Summer League was Kaman Malawach, I think by far. And then we can talk about who's next, because I think that's an interesting conversation of the other 2 guys. Sorry to Kobe Brea, not including him there. But the thing that I found myself wrestling with is Kaman Malawach just going to be ready sooner than I thought? Because I really thought it's okay to slow play this. He's young. He hasn't played basketball very long. He's massive, and I think there's a bit of a learning curve for gigantic bodies in the NBA compared to the wings who could just move really fluidly. And you know, at times last year he kind of looked like a baby deer, if you will, like someone learning how to walk for the first time on the court compared to the NBA players that were out there. There really was no, other than like a brief stint in the first half of the first game, there was no other moment that he looked like that over the course of Summer League. Competition being Summer League, I understand that. It gets a little harder when you got actual huge bodies out there and NBA, full NBA speed of all the players. But, like, you have to show something to give you some level of confidence, and he did. He showed something. His defense looked good. He protected the rim well, and he scored efficiently all over the court. Well, at the rim and at the three-point line, which is what you want him to do, at the rim and at the three-point line. And his hands
got to the
good.
free throw line a good amount, too. Missed a good amount of free throws, but that's not something
concerned about his free throw.
Concerned about. I think that's a low sample size.
Yeah, and his hands looked good. He was catching the ball. He was getting to rebounds. He was fighting a little bit more for rebounds than he did in the regular season. And he was moving his feet. And, yeah, of course, it's different when you got, like, Tyrese Maxey flying around a screen or something like that. Yeah, that's going to be different than when it's someone I've never heard of, playing against him. But he showed something that made me realize that maybe he's ready to play sooner rather than later. And I think for the general impression that I have after Summer League, he is the guy for me that I'm just the most excited about in this coming season, which is interesting because I posted a poll during one of our podcasts. I don't remember if it was Main Feed or Patreon, but asking Suns fans before Summer League which player they were most excited about this coming season. And 60% said Rasheer Fleming. And, I think it's different now. I think it's probably Kaman Malawach now. That would be
I would
my
imagine
impression.
it's different. Yeah, I mean, I think we all understand that there's a ceiling with Malawach that we'll talk about in a second, but I wanted him to contribute in his second year in Summer League. You've talked about before, like, it's a real red flag if a guy doesn't contribute in his second Summer League. Malawach didn't just contribute, he dominated Summer League statistically. And I posted a bunch of propaganda on social media over the past several days. But, like, Ryan Dunn and Oso in their second Summer League, they contributed. They played well. They averaged, like, 12 to 15 points per game on solid efficiency, right? Like, they played well. Mm-hmm. What Malawach did was a step far above that. He averaged 20 points, 13 rebounds, 2 blocks, 53 from the field, 40 from deep, 70% true shooting. He was tied for first in all of Summer League in win shares. He was top 15, I think, in PER. He was just good at pretty much everything. The one exception being, as you were talking about, that sort of deer in headlights thing, when he has to create his own offense. And his handle is still loose, and he will still turn the ball over against NBA defenders, and they will press up on him if he gets an elbow touch in the NBA because they'll just expect that they can steal that, right? But outside of that, assuming that that's not going to be Malawach's role in his sophomore season in the NBA, which we know it won't be, and that they just want him to defend the rim, rebound with a motor, catch lobs, and more broadly speaking, just catch balls in the middle of the floor, and then be able to space the floor out to the top of the key, not the corners, but the top of the key. He's going to be able to do all of those things in year 2, I think.
Yeah.
After 4 Summer League games, it just feels like he is. And then, maybe there's more potential in the future, and if he can build off those things, that's when you start to talk about like, okay, all-star potential and all that. But if he just does those big man things plus taking some threes, that's already a hell of a player. And I think you're right. He might be able to do those things as soon as this year.
And we'll talk about how that could impact the other guys on the roster in a second. But we talked about what we learned. I think that conversation is going to easily focus on Kaman Malawach. But let's just briefly touch on Koa Pete, and we can talk about Kobe Brea too, and of course Rasheer Fleming. But of Koa Pete and Rasheer Fleming, I think Rasheer Fleming is probably, there's a chance that Rasheer Fleming is like pretty good this year. But I kind of came away from Summer League more excited about Koa Pete in a way, and I think maybe there's like the novelty of just learning about a new player and watching him play with like really high intention and really paying close attention to the kinds of things that they're doing. That just makes you, it's just, there's something exciting about that. It's why fans always
That's always
love,
a little bit of it.
Yeah,
least. Fans
always love young guys. And, you know, if they were both, the first time we were watching both of them, I don't know how we would feel, maybe differently. But you know, I there is this sort of lingering feeling with Koa Pete for me, and I'm curious if this exists for you at all, where I'm like, I'm just watching him going, is this guy good? Is he, am I stupid? You know, like, do I not know anything? He went 30th, and some people really dislike him in the draft. Smart people who do draft work kind of really dislike him. And you know, and other people, Sam Vecini, we talked about, had him as high as like in their top 20 or whatever.
Yeah,
like
almost lottery, like 16th, I think Vecini
and that's not normal. Like for Vecini, that's pretty high. Like he's a bit out on a limb there, talking about how he feels about Koa Pete. And maybe there's a thing about his age. You know, he's very young. He's 19 years old. So there's a part of me that, like, I watch him play and I think he looks really good. He's doing a lot of interesting stuff, and like some of this stuff I could see translating pretty quickly. Some of it maybe not. The defense is so that's a bit of a challenge to get minutes in this coming season, because we know how it works when a team's trying to be good. And then I have that other part of me that's like, but all these smart people said no. Maybe the ceiling's not as high as you think. So there's a part of me that maybe doubts myself a little bit when thinking about Koa Pete, and I'm sort of like watching him with that in mind, trying to figure out where his potential actually is, and maybe it's somewhere between all of that, right? But what do you think?
I mean, look, we all understand that with Koa rebuilding his shot from scratch, essentially, at least his shot outside of like 16 feet, that it caps his potential if he never figures that out. In the modern NBA, you know, a guy who's not like, doesn't have the standing reach of Rasheer Fleming, so he probably can't consistently play small ball 5. If he doesn't figure out in the next 4 years how to be a 3-point shooter at the NBA level, then this could be his only NBA contract. But that being said, usually the guys who get taken at the end of the first round and later fall into one of two camps. It's like either they're really athletically challenged, but they have undeniable skill.
Or like one undeniable skill, right?
Yeah, one undeniable skill. Like they're a great shooter with a negative wingspan. Yeah. You know, like that type of guy goes 28th in the draft. Or it's sort of the flip side. It's like the really enticing, lanky 18-year-old prospect who has a 7'5" wingspan, but like average 3 points per game in the 4th Spanish division, you know, like something like that, right? It's one or the other. What's puzzling about Koa is that he's kind of both. Like, he contributed in college basketball already. He's contributing in Summer League already. He can score the basketball in spades, but you also watch him play and he has real athleticism. Like, he has a real vertical. He has the ability to sky for dunks and alley-oops. He has great instincts in the short roll and as we talked about, to be able to run inverted pick and roll at such a young age. You know, with his high center of gravity as almost a point forward, right? He has the ability to play make for others. Maybe not to the level where it's like, you know, why didn't he go in the lottery? Why didn't he go top 10? Any of this? Like, I understand like why he went later in the draft, but still 30th for him after watching him in Summer League just seems really odd. Because a guy like him who is both athletic and skilled, even if he does have holes in his game, doesn't usually go that low. So yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I maybe, just to reiterate what you were saying, Koa, definitely part of it is that he's the new kid on the block. It's just more interesting, more fun. when you kind of have a new toy to play with. But he was a lot more fun to watch than Rasheer in Summer League. Just a consistent transition weapon, a guy who could really put the ball on the floor, create for himself out of the post, doesn't have a three-point shot but has a mid-range shot out to 16 feet, right? Got himself to the free throw line consistently as well. Feels like a guy who, every rookie has to kind of push through the rookie wall and the physicality a little bit and get the officials on their side. But I think Ko is going to get there quicker than most. He feels like a guy who's going to put consistent pressure on the rim and just find ways to get to the free throw line from a young age. So many positives to take away from his game overall.
If your business runs on 5 different apps, 12 browser tabs, and one spreadsheet that everyone's afraid to touch, it's probably time for Odoo. Odoo is an all-in-one business management software that connects every part of your business into one powerful, easy-to-use platform. So instead of wasting time switching between disconnected systems, your entire business works together in real time. Your team moves faster, your data stays accurate, and you can actually focus on growing your business. Let one unified system run your entire business. From the first opportunity to the final payment, everything works together in one place. Whether you're a small business or managing a large operation, Odoo gives you one flexible platform built to grow with you. Learn more at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.
You've heard us talk about Alchemy Roast before, but if you still haven't tried them, consider this your reminder. One of the things I appreciate about Alchemy is that they're focused on the coffee itself. They source quality beans, roast in small batches, and pay attention to the details that make a difference in the cup. Whether you're making pour over, espresso, or just a standard drip coffee at home, it's the kind of coffee that makes you look forward to your morning routine. And if you're someone who drinks coffee every day, upgrading what you're brewing is one of the simplest changes you can make. And you've been hearing these ads thinking, I'll check it out later. Well, now is a good time. Head to alchemyroaster.com and use the promo code TIMELINE to get 10% off your order. That's alchemyroaster.com, promo code TIMELINE today to support them, a local Phoenix business, and to support us here on this podcast.
Having a daily routine is crucial. For me, daily walks with my dog are a non-negotiable part of my wellness routine to get some fresh air and clear my mind. And after those walks, it's easy to grab my favorite all-in-one nutrition shake and take it wherever I'm off to next with Kachava's new travel packs. One easy-to-use packet provides complete nutrition ready for life on the go with protein, fiber, vitamins and minerals, greens, probiotics, omegas, electrolytes, and more. Kachava has 8 great flavors, including chocolate, vanilla, chai, matcha, coconut acai, strawberry, coffee, and my favorite, backed by popular demand, chocolate mint. Take your daily ritual with you. Go to Kachava.com and use code SPORTS for 15% off your first order. That's Kachava, spelled Kachava.com, and code SPORTS.
Mom, can you tell me a story?
Sure. Once upon a time, a mom needed a new car.
Was she brave?
She was tired, mostly. But she went to Carvana.com and found a great car at a great price. No secret treasure map required.
Did you have to fight a dragon?
Nope. She bought it 100% online. From her bed, actually.
Was it scary?
Honey, it was as unscary as car buying could be.
Did the car have a sunroof?
It did, actually.
Okay, good story.
Car buying you'll want to tell stories about. Buy your car today on
Carvana.
Delivery fees may apply.
I think the thing about co-op going forward is maybe what these NBA guys that are trying to project what he is are trying to factor in how does he become a role player, because that's kind of what he needs to be, at least to get minutes while he's young here. And and you don't have a 3-point shot. Becoming a role player, like what matters the most for someone like Koa Pete, if you can't shoot, is the context that he plays in. If he plays with a big who can shoot threes, if Kaman Malawach is shooting 37% from three and can stand behind the free throw line and create space, then yeah, you can play him off the ball a little bit. Because the trouble with Koa Pete is, how do you play him off the ball? Maybe Summer League is sort of the best example of showing what he can do, but he's not going to be on the ball like that in the NBA.
Right.
I mean, maybe the Suns kind of give it to him because there's such a lack of playmaking on this team. Maybe he's allowed to do it. But like, you do have to project with some of these guys. Okay, they look good with the ball in their hands, but they don't look great with the ball in their hands. They don't look like a star player right away with the ball in their hands. So what can they do to get minutes in the NBA? Well, they have to play off the ball. Okay, so where does that come from for Koa Pete? Now he's the screener. He's in the short roll. He's catching it in the middle of the floor. He's trying to make plays. He's getting to the rim. Okay, but where does the center do in that play case? You know, so you're really there's a list of questions.
Center's in the dunker spot probably if he's in the short roll.
Yeah, right.
But that doesn't.
And he can
leave
make that mid range, which is interesting. Yeah, you know,
right.
Yeah.
It doesn't leave a lot of space though. You know, I think the other place where Koa played out of in Summer League was being himself in the dunker spot. And if he's going to do that in the NBA, then that's the one where it's like, okay, where's the center? If he's playing on the floor with Mark Williams or Oso Ighodaro, he can't play in the dunker spot. You're going to have two guys 6 feet away from the rim on either side waiting to catch it there. You know, it's going to be difficult. Although what I will say is if him and Oso play together, at least both of them have that natural instinct and ability to pass even to each other.
Yeah.
But still, it's going to be really challenging for him to find initial minutes for that reason.
Yeah. Now Rasheer, I think what we learned about Rasheer is not much. Actually, let's save the Rasheer conversation for the next segment here. Let's just quickly say, actually, let's move on to it. Let's talk about stock. Like, I want to do like a stock up or down thing. And I want to do this with guys that are there at Summer League, that played in Summer League. And then I want to talk about how it affected how you feel about the stock of players that are currently on the Suns, because I think there is like a downstream effect of some excitement for these young guys. Malawach, and I just want to base this on, how did you feel about these guys before Summer League? Stock up, stock down for these guys. Kaman Malawach, stock up, right? That one's easy.
Way, way, way up. Micron levels up for Kaman Malawach.
Okay.
He's, before Summer League, I felt like I've always defended the Malawach pick over the last year because I've said over and over again, I see the long-term idea of what a player like Malawach could be, and basically the Suns choosing to go with Malawach at 10th over other guys that they could have had, Colin Murray Boyles went one pick after or before. I think
before. No, yeah.
No, he may
Maybe
have gone
after,
one
after.
pick before. He may have gone one pick before. I always can't remember.
Yeah.
But other players that they could have had that were more like win now or ready, right? The fact that they shrugged off that possibility in favor of going with a guy like Malawach, in my opinion, it was taking ultimately the swing that could potentially save Devin Booker's timeline in Phoenix if it all works out. So that's why I've always defended the Malawach pick. That being said, his rookie year, I mean, I liked the rim protection, but I didn't want to get carried away with kind of like what we saw in terms of actual tangible output. I didn't really know what to expect from him in Summer League. I was just hoping he would look like he belonged. And then, as I said, he dominated. So just way, way, way better.
Yeah, I think that one's easy. Koa Pete.
Up.
I think up too.
Stock up. Yeah, I didn't expect. I don't know what. I never really thought about like what my expectations of Koa statistically were, but he just looks like he belongs with his confidence.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like his command of the ball is beyond his years, I think, even at the Summer League level.
Yeah, and he had problems. Like he turned the ball over quite a bit for what they were asking him to do, but that was expected. That's part of the experience here. His defense struggled a little bit. I personally was excited about Koa Pete, and when we had Kellen on to talk about the draft before the draft, that's something I told Kellen. I actually like Koa Pete. I would not be mad if the Suns ended up drafting Koa Pete. So I felt pretty good about it before Summer League, but after watching him, I feel better about it. I'm not sure, like, even with all that in mind, I'm not sure how much he's going to play in this coming season, but I do hope he gets minutes, and I'm going to talk more about that in a second. Now, this one I think is interesting. Rasheer Fleming.
You go first.
I think I feel exactly the same.
Okay.
It's a push. Like, I kind of feel I was excited about him, Rasheer Fleming, before Summer League, and I think he played the way I would have expected him to play. There is a world where I would have felt less good about him, and there's a world where I would have felt more excited about him, and I don't think he did anything to affect it in either direction for me personally.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I would go with a push as well. Sorry if that's a cop-out to people,
I think it's
but
fine. Yeah.
The reason I say it is because, honestly, I don't think I'm as high on Rasheer as some people in the community that I see their opinions. Like,
yeah.
Whereas with Malawach, I feel like the potential is sky high. Rasheer, for me, it's just like, are you rebounding? Are you blocking shots weak side?
Yeah.
Are you
shooting?
Are you shooting threes with confidence? And I want to give him a lot of credit there. Not only did he shoot 42% from three in Summer League on 5 attempts per game, but it really does feel like he's taking increasingly contested threes, whereas every single three he took at the NBA level last year was wide open. He needs to get to the point where he just has like an inkling of gravity as a shooter, especially with this team that, has all these other non-shooters. If Rasheer's on the court at the same time as Oso or Ryan Dunn or Koa, it's like you need to be shooting more than your fair share to make up for some of these other guys on the roster, unfortunately. And he's been good as a shooter, good as an offensive rebounder, good as weak side protector. But those are all role player things ultimately, and that's kind of what I anticipate Rasheer being, is a solid role player. So I would say push.
This one's easy, and you have to answer first. Kobe Brea.
Yeah, we are in the Great Depression, unfortunately for Kobe Brea. The stock is in the gutter. We're living off of not even boiled potatoes. I don't even know what we're living off of. We're living off of scraps from the dumpster, us Kobe Brea fans, because we were not feasting at Summer League. He averaged 7.4 points per game through 5 games. He's the only one of these guys, by the way, who played 5 games, because he played in the consolation game as well. 7 points per game on 30% from the field, 29% from deep, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, turnover and a half. Tough look.
Does it matter? Like, would you... I hate to say it this way. Would you want them to replace him as one of their two-way guys? Like, or does Summer League matter in this case for him? Like...
So the issue is, I know for a fact that Kobe Brea is a better shooter than he showed at Summer League. He had one game where he made like 6 threes, and other than that, it was just in a massive cold spell.
I know though, his G League stats are not very good for that either.
It's like 36%. He takes a lot of deep threes as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Including when he's like 0 for 8. He'll pull up from 30 feet. He doesn't care. So as a shooter, he has all the confidence in the world. I know he's not a 29% three-point shooter, whatever I just said he was in Summer League. The issue for me is that I needed him. I said this before Summer League. We said, what do we want to see from each of these guys? I said, I know you can shoot, but show me one other thing. And he didn't show me one other thing. Mm-hmm. He didn't show me any secondary or tertiary playmaking.
Defense he didn't stand out either.
It was fine. He played, I remember a few possessions where he was playing up 94 feet. So, like, definitely that fits within the culture of what the Suns are trying to do. And, like, I respect the effort. But, I don't see the potential, unfortunately, anymore in the way that I was kind of hoping to see. Kobe Brea is a two-way guy, ultimately. And so if they replace him or not, I think they're probably not going to replace him anyway. But if they did or not, would it really make a difference? I'm not sure. But I will say Pat Spencer, who's 30 years old and signed to one of the Suns' other two-way spots, is a guy who you could just see stepping into NBA minutes at any point during the season and just being like an innings eater, right? Like if Colin Gillespie, God forbid, misses 25 games with something, and then, I don't know, like Jamari Bouye has to be like featured in a bigger role, but Pat Spencer also has to like come up and play some minutes. He could do that. He could play 10 or 12 minutes and be totally fine. I don't see Kobe Brea at this stage being able to do the same thing if he had to play NBA minutes, and, that's a problem.
Yep, I'm sorry, Sam. People were just tagging you when he had bad games.
I called my shot. We all miss sometimes, you know?
That one's easy. How about this one? Mark Williams.
After Summer League, yeah, I guess stock down on Mark Williams, not because he did anything wrong.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I want to have this conversation.
But because Malawach is coming.
Yeah. It's really hard to, like, I don't know.
You know what we didn't talk about
I feel
with
like he's in a
Malawach?
tough spot because if Mark Williams has bad games, it's like I'd rather watch Kaman have a bad game. It's not even like to the point where you'd rather watch Kaman have a good game, which that's obvious. Like you'd obviously rather watch a guy have a good game than a guy have a bad game. But we're at the point with Kaman where it's like I'd rather watch him have a bad game than Mark Williams have a bad game, because at least with Kaman, you're investing in the future. You're giving him minutes to try to develop him, trying to get him up to speed with the guys he's going to play with in the future.
I mean, I will say, Mark Williams, I don't know if he is young enough to count towards our internal development series once we get around to doing that.
Yeah,
but isn't
question.
Mark young? I literally don't remember. Is he younger than Oso? Is he older than Oso, but by like 30 days?
I think he's 24. Yeah, it might be close. I can check right
It's
now,
very
actually.
close. So, like, if we're going to do an internal development episode for Oso, we probably need to do one for Mark Williams because they're basically the same age.
Mark Williams is older by like a year.
Oh, by a full year? Okay. Well, even so, I mean...
Like they're born in different years, 2002 to 2001.
If you ask me my personal opinion, I very much believe that giving Mark Williams the 3-year contract is a placeholder contract. I've always believed that Mark Williams is kind of meant to be the placeholder, the transition bearer.
Who doesn't want to give up 2 first-round picks for that, Sam?
I'm not saying that was a good idea. It's just always been my personal opinion that that's what he was brought in here to do, is kind of be the... bridge the gap between two Suns eras, if you will, by giving them a respectable presence at starting center. That said, you can't entirely discount the possibility that he still has more juice to squeeze, right? And that he could still get better, and that he could be motivated by seeing, Malawach play as well as he did this summer.
Yeah,
and I have always had that sneaking
competition is good.
I've always had that sneaking suspicion that Mark Williams, who's an 80% free throw shooter, might be able to hit top of the key threes too, right? So
that'd be excellent.
Who knows? This could be the year that he just comes out and unleashes it. You never know. Or just massively improves his timing as a rim protector, because that's the element of his game that I was by far most disappointed in last year. I want to say about Kaman also. He said in an interview, you caught this, right? He said in an interview in Summer League that Kyle Korver was the one he worked with on building his three-point shot.
It actually wasn't in an interview at Summer League. It was like in the pre-draft process that somebody, Jordan, actually a listener of the podcast, just like stumbled upon an old interview. But yeah.
Is that why was I only just hearing about it?
Nobody talked about it. I don't know. That's why it's fun that he found it. That's a nice little topic for us.
So he used Kyle Korver to build the base of his shot, at least.
Yeah. He went to his jump shot builder and chose Kyle Korver base.
His form for a 7'2" guy looks so good.
It's so smooth.
It's really pure.
Like it's mechanical in the way that everyone who's that big looks a little bit mechanical, but it's so much smoother than someone at his size should be. I posted a clip, I'm sure you saw it, of one of the shots he made in Summer League where the pass was like way above him. He had to go like full extension to catch it and just went directly into his gather and swished to 3. And it's just like, that's something you see really good shooters do. It's not something you see big, gigantic dudes usually do unless they're Karl Anthony Towns or something, which I'm not saying he's that kind of shooter. He's obviously not. That's like not fair to even say about him. But there's something there with him that's just not usually there with big guys. Whether or not they can tap into it in the NBA like long term remains to be seen, but there is something, and I really hope they find a way to tap into it. They hired the player development coach for a reason. That was Jordan Ott's reputation coming to the Phoenix Suns, so I expect there to be some level of player development there. And I guess we have Kyle Korver, one of the greatest shooters in the NBA, in the history of the NBA, to thank for it. The guy who sort of invented insane like off ball movement and shooting. Maybe we'll see Kaman come off a pin down.
Yeah, He runs through an elevator screen set by Colin Gillespie and Devin Booker.
They just die. Embiid chasing him through it.
Man, the elevator screen was something that was never very functional at the NBA level.
It's like a flea flicker or something. Like it's never really made sense. It's a trick play.
It's just unfortunate that like the elevator screen really had its day in like 2016 off of the wave of like, you know, kind of Steph and Clay. That was like a big set that they would run.
Not really, but they did run
with the Warriors back in the day. Not a big one, but they would do like one of those every other game, and it was a lot of fun. And then at a certain point, other teams would try and mimic it. I remember the Suns.
Yeah. Marquise Chris and Dragon Bender holding hands while doing it.
They would the Suns would run it for Troy Daniels. Remember Troy Daniels, who was like such a good shooter?
This is so sad to think about Marquise Chris and Dragon Bender setting elevator screens for Troy Daniels.
But that's what I'm saying. When you had a shooter like that, it makes me. I'm sad about the death of the elevator screen, even if it wasn't like a practical thing that like resulted in, you know, the most optimized points per possession. It's just a fun chess play that you want to see happen on the basketball court. Anyway, so offensively, he's looking after Kyle Korver. This was from an interview at this year's Summer League, right, where he was asked if he was reaching out to any other players, and he said that he was reaching out to Rudy Gobert for advice on... I'm noticing you're not snickering yet. For advice on how to keep his body in shape and basically just take care of himself over the offseason from someone who's a longtime vet.
I don't like Rudy Gobert as a person.
You literally tweeted like a week ago, Kaman Malawach is Rudy Gobert if he was good. That is a verbatim thing that you said.
Yeah. I mean, I like saying mean things about him. What can I say? But... that's a good person for Kaman Malawach to reach out to when it comes to what he should be in the NBA.
The reason I bring it up is to bring it back to Mark Williams, right? Mark Williams has reason to be concerned if Kaman Malawach is the fusion dance of Kyle Korver and Rudy Gobert. You know? That's a very unique player profile.
Yeah, I mean, that would be one of the best centers in the NBA. Maybe the best. That'd be hilarious. Yeah, you know, I do think that was an interesting thing to ask him about because Gobert carries a lot of weight in a good way. You know, he's not just tall, he's like pretty wide and huge and uses that strength not just for defense but for rebounding too. So talking to him specifically about his body and staying healthy during the offseason, I think is an interesting thing for Gobert to talk about. And for Kaman to talk about. And Gobert was the right guy for him to reach out to, I think. Are there any other centers that you want Kaman reaching out to learn something from?
Past or present?
I guess either way.
That's an interesting question.
Who turns it over the least? Probably like Mitch Robinson, someone who touches the ball for half a second only.
Well, it's a weird thing because it's like, you know, who's the best center in the league? Obviously, you'd love every center to learn from Jokic.
Yeah, but you can't teach. What he does, you can't teach. Yeah.
Sometimes it's just a futile effort.
Yeah.
Also, I don't think Jokic would be like... I don't think he would play ball.
No.
With most prospects,
he
wouldn't be a teacher. Yeah. So, it's hard. Yeah.
That's so funny. He doesn't take any heat for being a weirdo. But yeah, I mean, how do you teach someone to throw like a behind-the-head no-look pass? Like, for most guys, you have to teach them to not do that and never do that because it's never going to go well.
Having a daily routine is crucial. For me, daily walks with my dog are a non-negotiable part of my wellness routine to get some fresh air and clear my mind. And after those walks, it's easy to grab my favorite all-in-one nutrition shake and take it wherever I'm off to next with Kachava's new travel packs. One easy-to-use packet provides complete nutrition ready for life on the go with protein, fiber, vitamins and minerals, greens, probiotics, omegas, electrolytes, and more. Kachava has 8 great flavors, including chocolate, vanilla, chai, matcha, coconut acai, strawberry, coffee, and my favorite, backed by popular demand, chocolate mint. Take your daily ritual with you. Go to Kachava.com and use code SPORTS for 15% off your first order. That's Kachava, spelled Kachava.com, and code SPORTS.
Queen Carvania stood haloed by the morning sun, An army hung on her every word.
My champions, I have sold my chariot on Carvana. 'Twas a lovely SUV, an inexplicably queenly offer. They're even coming to the castle to collect it. Tonight, we feast! An offer you can feast on. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
From lashes for days with the viral Liquid Lash Extensions mascara to lift and color from their brilliant eye brightener, Thrive Causemetics is the go-to for amplifying everyday looks. Plus, every product is 100% vegan, cruelty-free, and made with clean, skin-loving ingredients that work with your skin. Amplify your everyday. Go to thrivecosmetics.com/shine26 for an exclusive offer of 20% off your first order. That's Thrive Cosmetics, CAUSEMETICS.com/shine26.
Okay, where were we? Stock up, stock down. We got off that on a Mark Williams conversation. One other guy. Ryan Dunn?
Push.
I think that's fair, but maybe that's because of how you and I feel about him already.
I think he's been in the dirt and he remains in the dirt. No, it's not that bad.
No.
The thing about Ryan that we have to reckon with and that Jordan Ott has to reckon with, the lineup data with Ryan Dunn is good.
It is.
It was good all of last season. His personal statistical accolades weren't, impressive.
That's why I wonder why he sat so much. Like, was he doing something wrong specifically that they were asking him to do? Because this is a team that pays attention to data.
Beyond just not being a shooter. You're saying.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that's fair to ask, right? Because he crashed the hell out of the offensive glass.
Mm-hmm.
But he crashed the offensive glass, which I'm sure is what he was being asked to do all season long. But at the end of the day, could he do it better than Jordan Goodwin, who just has a superhuman ability to do that at his size? We understand now. And I guess Ott basically just felt like at the end of the season, he couldn't afford to have minutes going to both Jordan Goodwin and Ryan Dunn at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That he only had, one guy who could sort of play that role. And probably feels the same way about it going into this season, right? I think Ryan, I say push, not because I hate the guy, but I think he very much is going into the season on the outside looking in terms of this rotation. How do you feel?
I feel, I don't know. I actually hope he plays. I hope they find minutes for him, at the guard position. Maybe he can play with some of these guys. Maybe he can play with Koa Pete. I do think there's a conversation of what's more valuable, playing Ryan Dunn or playing Koa Pete. And I think Ryan Dunn's going to be better in this coming year, but there's something interesting about playing Koa Pete in spot minutes to see if he can get up to NBA speed and strength. I do feel like I have consistently been a little bit lower than a lot of Suns fans on Ryan Dunn, and I feel like that my impression of how fans feel about him, which I think I have a pretty good impression of how fans feel. I feel like their opinion of him is now somehow lower than mine, which has stayed in the same place. Do you know what I mean? I feel like a lot of people are like, well, we should trade him for this guy. Or we have Koa Pete. What do we need him for now? Or Rasheer Fleming's going to get all those minutes anyway. And it's
I'm definitely seeing more people in my replies say things like that. I do try to remind myself that our reactions to what we see online is we are, how do I say this? We're viewing the extremes.
Yeah.
Right?
The psychos who use Twitter and Discord.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't use the word psychos,
Reddit.
but
hey, we're on there too.
The silent majority, if you will, still stands behind Ryan Dunn.
I don't know that's true. Stay in line. Stay in line at Taco Bell. They can't. They have to let you. They have to let you eat the lettuce. They have to let you order the lettuce.
I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. What I was going to ask you is this. Colin Gillespie is going to play off the bench. Oso Ighodaro is going to play. Jordan Goodwin's going to play. Right? Those are three guys who they're just going to play. Do you agree with this? This is your opportunity to jump in and say I disagree. Okay.
No, I think, yeah.
So after that, I mean, what do you think the Suns need more? I think they need Luke Kennard's offense more than they need Ryan Dunn's defense, I suppose.
I think there's a better chance that people are upset at the amount that Luke Kennard plays by the end of the season than any other conversation about him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he needs to play. I just think he needs to play.
Okay, so Kennard plays. That's 4 guys off the bench already, and we haven't even brought up Malawach, Fleming, or Pete, or Dunn.
Yeah.
That's what I mean when I say there's a lot of depth here.
Is the conversation, do the Suns need to make a trade again, is what you're saying?
No.
Consolidate
I don't.
and make a trade.
No, because I don't think it is. And, I think there are just going to be guys. I think there are going to be young guys who are on the outside looking in. And honestly, if they're going to make a trade, I think it's midseason, and I think it involves guys who are projected to be starters and not these bench players that we're talking about.
Well, I mean, maybe a combination of some of them, though.
Yeah, that's possible.
If you can find a way to get to something a little bit better. Like like a starter, a bench player, and 2 picks. What can you get for that is the question, I think.
They don't have 2 picks to trade, do they?
I think they do.
Oh, they do have. They do have 2 picks to trade
They
now.
just have 2 worse picks than they had to trade than before.
Yes.
Yeah. And it just cost 3 second-round picks to get Lou Dort. Yeah. I think, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how the rotations really play out, and I think we're going to have a conversation specifically about that as we get closer and closer to the season. Maybe even talking about specific lineups we want to see, just as we do every offseason.
Here's what it means. Depth is a privilege, and the Suns have it. People are going to be frustrated and angry at Jordan Ott no matter what he does because, there's not necessarily a wrong choice for him in terms of who he decides his 9th man to be starting out the season, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, people are going to get mad if he played Luke Kennard 18 minutes and Ryan Dunn 6 minutes in some game. But, that shit is just going to happen. That's going to be happening all season long. I'm here to tell you right now. So,
yeah, maybe I should.
We got to get used to it.
Delete my Twitter. That's going to suck. It's just arguments in every... I'll tweet something about something completely different than that, and then people will just argue about it in the reply.
It's all going to be relative to expectations, right? And I think that's a segue into the other thing I wanted to talk about today.
Well, let's say this: is there anyone else?
What are people's expectations?
Is there anyone else that stock up or down on the Suns?
On the entire team?
Yeah, Oso Ighodaro, Miles Bridges, Jalen Green. I don't know how any of these guys would affect that, but
no, based on summer
I think
league,
Oso Ighodaro, it's kind of interesting because the center minutes, I don't know.
I would say Colin Gillespie stock up if it's true that he's now 6'11".
Okay, fair. And I mean, like Rasheer Fleming, I do watch him and go, I don't know, maybe he should be the starter. Sometimes I just think that, and maybe you let Miles Bridges just try to be more of an offensive guy off the bench, but I don't know. I just don't like the way the defense looks in the starting lineup as it currently stands. But I didn't like it last season either, and they found a way to put together a defense that was better than I expected. Okay, yes, you brought it up. We should talk about it. Expectations. Because it was FanDuel, right, that posted the very early over-unders. Now, of course, as we get closer to the season, things change. The over-under numbers will adjust, and we'll do a full over-under podcast. But there was a lot of discourse specifically about the numbers that the Suns were set at. When I looked at it, it could have changed. It could have even changed before I looked at it, but it was 38.5. That's the number you have too?
I checked today. It is still 38.5.
Yeah, it makes sense for them not to change it at this time of year unless, maybe when LeBron goes to a team, they start adjusting the numbers a little bit. But people were mad about this from what I can tell. And like you
said,
in the
community, yeah.
What was your thought?
Well, a little bit of context. So the Suns were set at 38.5. That's 9th in the Western Conference because I think it's important to have it in relation to how everyone else in the conference is supposed to do, at least according to FanDuel's model or whatever. They do have like 10 teams in the East next year finishing above 40 wins. Now, the top level in the West remains much stronger than the East. The expectation is still that the Thunder and Spurs are way better in terms of regular season wins than any team in the Eastern Conference. But FanDuel now thinks that there's kind of more depth in the Eastern Conference. And, I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that assessment, is the first thing I'll say. The other first takeaway here, and I've been saying this all season, all summer long, is that there's a flattening of the league that's happening here just in terms of the over-under odds. Some of these teams are going to end up, overperforming because they always do. And some of these teams are going to underperform because a star player blows an Achilles, right? Because that always happens. Mm-hmm. But just from the outset, what I think is interesting is the NBA implemented new anti-tanking measures. There's kind of this league-wide expectation that everyone is serious about playing ball this year. And now the odds reflect that in the sense that 5 teams last year, 5 teams finished with less than 25 wins. I can't remember off the top of my head. I want to say the Kings, Nets, Pacers, help me out. Wizards and Bulls, maybe?
I think that's right, yeah.
Not sure if it was the Bulls as the 5th or a different team.
Yeah.
But 5 teams finished with less than 25 wins last year, right? There were a lot of just like free wins to go around. Right now, FanDuel is expecting only 2 teams to fall in that category. They have only the Nets and the Kings. And even there, they have the Nets at 21.5. They have the Kings at 22.5. In the past, when tanking was at its worst, there have sometimes been teams with over-under set at 17.5, 18.5, 19.5, right? So there is this expectation that the top gets a little bit worse, the bottom gets a little bit better. I think that's at least where some of the crunch comes from in relation to the Suns and why they would decrease in terms of their expectation from last year. That being said, the big reason that the Suns fell several wins is that the league just kind of fundamentally believes that who the Suns are going to be is closer to who they were post-All-Star break when they were struggling to win games, and not who they were pre-All-Star break when they were winning a lot of games. And Dylan Brooks was having like kind of a Cinderella half season. Colin Gillespie was having a Cinderella half season, and then those guys regressed in the second half. So that's where it comes from. Like people around the league just kind of don't believe in the Suns for that reason. They think they're closer to who they were post-All-Star break. There's also this belief that the league is getting I don't even know if it's necessarily more challenging, but just that everyone's being pushed a little bit closer to the middle.
Trae Young and Anthony Davis, if healthy, are not just going to sit half the season. Stuff like that's just not going to happen. And so teams like that or Utah with Lauri Markkanen not playing, whatever, they all of a sudden need to get nasal surgery or whatever it was that they had to make up to sit them for the rest of the season. That's not going to happen this year. It doesn't benefit the teams. It doesn't benefit the players.
That said, I'll give my own personal opinion. I do think 38.5 is low. I would probably expect them to, finish a little bit higher than this. But if you put a gun to my head and ask me to predict their number of wins going into the season as well, I would probably say less than 45 or whatever. Did they win 45 last year?
They won 45, right? And I feel at this moment, and I reserve the right to change my mind later because different things can change my mind. At this moment, I do feel like they are set to lose more games than last year. They're gonna win less than they did last year.
I will change my mind when I see it with my own eyes and when the data reflects it. As of just today, I fundamentally kind of don't believe in the starting lineup. I don't think it's good enough on offense or defense to justify being, say, like a 47, 48 win team, whatever people want that to be. I think the starting lineup, they need to find some combination of players that's really good at something. Ideally, either offense or defense, a top 10 offense or a top 10 defense. And the particular combination of players they have in the starting lineup right now, of course, that could change. Jordan Knott could make substitutions, or they could really find this amazing chemistry.
Kaman Malawich becomes the best rim protector in the NBA and starts.
Kaman Malawich enters the starting lineup. Mark Williams starts shooting 6 threes a game and is really good. Jalen Green has an all-star season. Like, any number of things could happen that would change my mind. I'm just basing this off of my opinion of mainly who Miles Bridges was last season, who Jalen Green was last season, who Mark Williams was last season, right?
Well,
who these players were when I watched them with my eyes.
Can I add a little to that?
Devin Booker.
Who Devin Booker was last season.
Yeah. Just based on all those things right now.
You can't expect Devin Booker to carry this team to 50 wins. You can't.
Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, if Devin Booker's going to do that, like 50 wins, this is the other thing about flattening the odds, right? Based on FanDuel's projections here, a 50-win team, which used to be like, I remember one season the Suns were a 50-win team in the Western Conference, and there were 8 50-win teams in the Western Conference, right? This was in the 2000s at the absolute height of the difference in strength between the conferences. But like, you would have the Suns winning 50 games with I think this was the 09-10 season, right? It was like Nash and Amari still. But like you would have a team like the Brandon Roy Blazers would be some team that nobody projected to go anywhere, and they would still win 50 games. Right now, FanDuel thinks if you win 50 games, you're the fourth best team in the NBA. So I think if that's your expectation of the team next season, that's a really high bar to set, because they need to be able to go out and beat good teams and beat bad teams. But even the bad teams have real players.
Yeah. I wonder if this number will move at all. Because I do think that, like, betting on Dillon Brooks to have another season like he did, that's fair for people to say. I don't think that's going to happen. But, you know, offensively, maybe Miles Bridges will help. That's what Suns fans will be talking about. The rim pressure that he brings, maybe that will help. I think the defense is, I don't know. It's difficult to predict that it's going to be better or worse than last year. So it's going to be interesting to see what it could end up being.
Yeah,
my first reaction is like 40 wins feels right. That's how I feel right now. So I would still say over this number. You know, I still would guess over. But, you know, I see a lot of people saying they're going to win 48 wins or whatever, and I don't feel confident in that at all. The thing is we both said over last year, and they played even better than I anticipated last year. Jordan Ott deserves some credit for what happened last year, and maybe he can find a way to make this all work. But it is a bit of a hodgepodge. They gave him a puzzle here. They didn't give him a bunch of things that fit together really obviously. They gave him a difficult puzzle, and to put that puzzle together might take part of the season. And I don't think they're going to sneak up on players anymore. Teams are going to know who Colin Gillespie is. Like, he's not going to have that first half of the season. They're going to be scouting for him a little bit more than they were last year, and that changes things a little bit. Oso Ighodaro, teams are going to know.
Teams know who Oso is. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that type of stuff, I think will matter a little bit more. And maybe the game plan, which a lot of teams did, of okay, Dillon Brooks wants to shoot, let's let him.
Yeah,
maybe that happens.
This is the biggest. This is the biggest thing I'm worried about, is that for the Suns with their current starting lineup combination, they're going to take the Oklahoma City approach in the playoffs of, okay, Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, and Miles Bridges want to shoot. Let them shoot. They will be a league average offense because those are mostly average players, even below average in terms of efficiency. And if their defense was really, really good, they could make up for it. But the defense of those players isn't really, really good. The defense of the players who are really
Jordan Goodwin. Every game we're going to be begging for them to put Jordan Goodwin in.
Exactly. So my worry is that the Suns had an identity built on defense last season, and now all of those players are poised to play 13 minutes a game off the bench. Right? That's what I'm worried about. So, yeah. I don't know. Maybe they can prove me wrong. I really think Malawach, after the summer league that he had, is kind of an interesting X factor in all this, because if Malawach is ready in year 2 to be a defensive anchor who shoots threes, that could absolutely change my projection of what they are in the regular season. But right now, I look at a team that has Jalen Green, who has always struggled on defense, Miles Bridges, whose defensive numbers have never been good in Charlotte, and Mark Williams, who just had a disappointing season as a rim protector. I want Jordan Ott to be able to put together like a winning formula out of it, but like you said, it's a difficult puzzle. It really is.
It's tough. I think for a lot of people, how offended you are by this number probably depends on how you feel about Miles Bridges, and I just don't feel that great about Miles Bridges, so I just think he's kind of average, and I don't think an average guy like that will make a big difference to the overall number. And I do think the NBA got a little bit better around them, which will affect the number in a negative way. But, you know, like I said, I'd still go over this number, but I just don't think it's like an offensive number the way that some people do. But I still think they would likely, if there's some level of health, like similar to last season, I think they will likely win more than that. And you agree with that, right? More than 38.5.
Yeah, let's say this, right? Like, let's give them a little bit of leeway. Let's say they hit the over here, but fall somewhere in the range of still beneath their mark last season.
Yeah, which is what I think they are going to be. That's exactly what I think they're going to be.
That would be my guess too, as of today. Let's say the Suns go 42-40 next year. That's an above 500 season. What is the front office's reaction to a season like that? What should it be if they have a season like that? I guess it's contextual based on which are the players that kind of enable them to have that sort of season, of course. Like, is it the young guys doing it, or is it the old guys doing it? But
if it's because the young guys played really well, maybe they lean harder into giving them more minutes and they're okay just being a little bit worse in the short term. I don't know, maybe that would be a question about Devin Booker's future at that point. I don't really know.
If the young guys don't take a step forward and you win 42 games off the back of 19 points per game from Dylan Brooks and
shooting
Miles
17
Bridges,
shots a game,
then that's that's where I think the fan base starts rightfully so, getting pretty frustrated.
I think a lot of the heat will be on Devin Booker by the fan base too. Actually,
depending on the season he has.
Yeah, that's true. It'll be interesting to see. There's going to be a lot of discourse this season regardless. And if you want to avoid it on Twitter, you can join our Discord. Good transition for me. And you can join our Discord by going to patreon.com/thetimeline, signing up for Patreon there, where you can get extra podcasts from us every week for $6 a month. And even a bonus podcast, a movie podcast we're going to do once a month. We did Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Moneyball recently on our Patreon. You can listen to both of those there. And you get access to our Discord for as low as $3 a month, and you can hang out with just Suns fans who try to be as rational as possible until the ball goes up in every game. But yeah, anything else before we go, Sam? Any NBA thing you wanted to talk about? We talked about LeBron. We talked about Lou Dort, the two most important players in the NBA.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about the NBA. I made the joke about LeBron and the schedule not being set, but really it's a really boring time right now. For the NBA, unfortunately. I guess we're waiting to see. Draymond hasn't signed yet. Is that something for Suns fans to be worried about?
Worried?
Secretly?
I mean, I like Draymond.
I always worry that Ishbia has to go around and
Draymond's still
collect.
pretty good. I mean,
he's
he can't
not.
score.
Let's not have this. Let's not have this debate.
What?
Right
Well,
now,
like Draymond at like $12 million. Would you be mad at that?
Yes, I still would be mad at it. I worried about Ishbia collecting all of the Michigan State Spartan Infinity Stones. Anyway, no, I don't think anything else is happening. So we'll see if there's any news between now and next week.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Back with a midweek Patreon podcast. And yeah, special episode next week. We'll talk about that next week on the podcast. We appreciate you. Back soon.